It was early morning in downtown Chicago, the kind where the cold air bit through wool coats and the smell of brewed coffee drifted from every corner cafe. Inside a sleek corporate building, the marble floors gleamed from a fresh polish. A janitor, Maria, a woman in her mid-50s with silver strands tucked beneath a faded cap, had just finished mopping the lobby floor. She was proud of her work, every streak wiped away, every tile spotless. She looked at her reflection in the shining floors, then glanced at the clock. Only 10 minutes until the boss arrived. Her shift would soon end, and another long day would begin for someone else. Just as she gathered her cart and turned toward the elevator, she froze. A fresh coffee stain, dark and obvious, sat boldly on the white marble, right outside the executive office. Someone must have spilled it just moments ago. Maria's heart skipped. That was Mr. Halden's door, the CEO. Known for his perfectionism and sharp temper, a stain in front of his door could cost someone their job. Panic rushed through her veins as she dropped to her knees, pulling out a rag. She scrubbed fast, hard, but the stain didn't budge. It had already set. Tears welled in her eyes. Her hands trembled. After 30 years in janitorial work, she had never once let something like this slide. Then, a soft voice broke through. "Try alcohol," a young woman said, kneeling beside her. She extended a small bottle of hand sanitizer with a kind smile. "It breaks down the oils. Trust me." Maria blinked in surprise. Together, they scrubbed. The young woman didn't seem to care that she wore a pressed white blouse and tailored slacks, clearly dressed for a job interview. She was already on the short list of candidates, standing out in a group of 30 well-dressed applicants. But there she was, on her knees beside a janitor, rubbing the floor like it was her own home. After several minutes of effort, the stain faded and disappeared. Maria looked at her. "Thank you," she whispered. The woman smiled. "No big deal. What's your name?" "Maria." "I'm Allison." "Nice to meet you." They chatted for a moment, as if they were old friends, as applicants passed by giving strange glances. A few chuckled. "Careful," one smirked, nudging another. "You're wasting your interview." "But hey, if this job doesn't work out, at least you've got backup as a janitor." More laughter. Allison just shrugged. Better to be kind than impressive. One by one, the names were called. The posh leather chairs in the waiting area emptied out. Hours passed. Allison was never called. Afternoon turned to dusk. Still she waited, never complaining, occasionally glancing up at the receptionist, who avoided her gaze. By 8 p.m., the office lights dimmed. Everyone had left. The receptionist had quietly slipped out with her purse slung over her shoulder. Maria returned from her storage room and noticed Allison still sitting there, hands folded in her lap. "They're done for the day, sweetheart," she said gently. "You should head home." But Allison just smiled. "I'll wait as long as I can." Moments later, a sharp voice called from the hallway. "Sorry, we're done with interviews. You'll have to come back tomorrow." Allison stood, adjusted her coat, and said, "No worries. I'll be back." She forced a smile, but Maria saw her eyes shimmer with disappointment. On her way to the elevator, Allison walked slower than before, and when she turned the corner, Maria heard the quiet sound of a sob, swallowed into the evening silence. The next morning, at 7:59 sharp, Allison returned. She sat in the same chair, waiting. At 8:15, the door to the executive office opened, and a woman stepped out, not the receptionist, but a tall, poised lady in a black pantsuit. Her hair was neatly tied back, and her confident steps echoed down the hallway. "Allison?" she asked. Allison stood. "Yes?" The woman smiled. I'm Olivia Halden, CEO. You're hired. Allison blinked. Wait, I didn't even have an interview. You didn't need one. I saw enough. Allison stood frozen. Olivia continued, I wanted to observe who people were when no one was watching. Yesterday, I was the janitor. I watched as you offered kindness to someone you thought had no value to your success. You showed patience when you had every reason to walk away. You didn't just pass the interview, you set the bar. Tears rushed to Allison's eyes. You were Maria? Olivia nodded with a warm smile. Sometimes, character reveals itself in small moments. Most people think job interviews are about talking. I believe the truest interviews happen in silence. Allison, overwhelmed, could only whisper, thank you. No, Olivia replied. Thank you. Later that day, Olivia posted a message on the company's social feed. Yesterday, a young woman helped clean a floor stain with someone she thought was a janitor. She was never called in for an interview. She waited all day, then returned the next morning with hope. That's the kind of character I want in my company, quiet, patient strength. If you believe that who you are matters more than what you say, drop a heart. Let's remind the world that kindness isn't weakness, it's leadership. Within hours, the post went viral. Thousands of hearts flooded the screen. Comments poured in from CEOs, recruiters, and everyday people across the U.S., each touched by one woman's patience and the boss who had the wisdom to recognize it. Character is who you are when no one is watching. In a world racing toward accolades, never run.